Welcome to the Redirect Podcast. We appreciate you joining us and listening to our conversation about finding your purpose in retirement. I'm Adam Kalemba, and I am joined with my friends Curt and Dale. We're at it again, another opportunity to chat with you guys. Looking forward to it. Wanted to have a free-form conversation today, which is just off the cuff. We don't have a lot scripted or rehearsed. It's just us talking about something that's interesting to us. So I want to ask you guys a question, and I want it to center around the moments that are important to us, that we find special attention for a given moment. We're coming off the holidays recently, and theoretically we would have found ourselves within and around a whole bunch of those meaningful moments that we'll likely to remember or want to have had emphasis on them. So to start, give me some examples of those meaningful moments first.
I think a great example of a special moment, thinking about spending my time in Chicago at a family reunion. Family reunions are generally full of, I think, special moments. They can be.
Totally.
And the special moments happen when you get some one-on-one time with people in your family you have not spent a lot of time with. This was extremely meaningful for me because I'm on the verge of redirecting my next 30 years, and had that opportunity to connect with a sister, a brother-in-law, another sister, all who have retired. And they're saying, so you're going to experience this retirement. For me, there's those emotional connections of going deeper about the subject of redirect and having the opportunity to start sharing some of what they experienced, advice they wanted to give me, of course. But those moments allowed me a deeper connection with family members that I don't usually see on a regular basis. It gave me really emotional connections that were very meaningful for me.
Yeah, as far as for myself, I'm more aware of things that are going on around me and appreciative. And I thank God for opening up my eyes and my heart in order to see him at work and see things that are laid before me and recognize the value, not only in the given experience, but in the relationships. We spend our Christmas with my wife's sister and her family. She lost her husband 4 or 5 years ago, and that's sad in one regard, but then again, joyful in the sense that we have a great time together and we appreciate that time because of what happened to my brother-in-law. Went up to Buffalo, where my family's from, and had a great time to connect with our complete family. And in the past, it was another to do. I got to go here, I got to spend there, got to work through the day. Hey, we're going to this place for dinner. Hey, how everything going? Everybody, superficial conversations. And now this was very intentional in conversations, recognizing that you're important to me. And I really appreciate you, and I'm here and I'm present and I'm with you. And that's the big difference I saw from when I had the work experience to where I am now. And I'm looking at so many things that are, they're just deeper than just the superficial.
I'd like to just underscore something you said, because it certainly was for me. First time for me of being present and having the time.
Yeah.
Didn't it? Before, our lives are so fast and there's so much we were trying to get done. My mom's 93 or 92, just turned 92, with 28 great grandkids and 21 grandkids and having them all together. And this is the first year that I brought my dad's old referee whistle and led some games for the little kids, simple games that he used to lead. And I got to lead for just because I was present, and I saw a million kids running pell-mell all over this chaos that was going on in this giant room. But that's that moment. If you're talking about a really powerful moment.
And Dale, you also mentioned another thing, that you threw out the concept of redirect to your brother and sister, right?
I sure did.
And this is a new awareness for you, which then opened up a level of conversation that you probably never had with your brother and sister before, which then created even more of a robust relationship because you're sharing things that are happening to you, and it's a different level of conversation.
And it's a vulnerability. I spent a lot of time with them, and to be open and vulnerable about that, not just me, them. They had to admit, wow, I loved the first 6 months because we went everywhere. And then all of a sudden, we were disoriented. We were like, what's next? And that was the same for another older sister who was retired. So there were just all these moments of what we find when we bring this up to friends. Nobody really talks about it. Then all of a sudden you've got this common ground, certainly for me in making special moments, the opportunity to all of a sudden be vulnerable, share these emotional moments, but start talking about the process. They all went through a process.
So Curt, you said something I want to zero in on. It was about awareness, that you're looking at these moments differently. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious, has the shedding of the weight of your career or picking up the mantle of retirement changed your perspective of time you spend in your relationships?
When I was working, I couldn't really enjoy the things that were happening at the present because I was focused on where I was going on Monday. And there's a lot of things into it. A, I'm more relaxed. B, I'm embracing the present. I'm also recognizing that these visits that I have with people, either myself or with others, could be limited. And I'm seizing the moment to really open my eyes and be aware and to be intentional, as I said earlier, and focused on the individual as opposed to, hey, we're visiting, this is great, how the kids and all that stuff. How are you doing? What's going on in your life? My sister's approaching retirement, and we had a long conversation about it because she was intrigued with what we're doing here at Redirect You. And it was great to have conversations with her because, like you guys have heard from other people that we've chatted to casually, everybody's got questions. And through that, the connection that I'm having with my sister and my nieces and my nephews and my brother has been tremendous.
So, Dale, I want to ask you the same question. As you're pulling your other foot out of the workforce and putting it both feet almost completely in retirement now, is retirement causing you to look differently at relationships with people around you?
Yeah, certainly for me. One of my biggest awarenesses for us is the importance of community, the importance of time spent with others, other men, other couples, and people experiencing the same time of life. So certainly for me, as I think through how relationships are different, they seem to be just going a little deeper. I think the reality that keeps coming up is the mortality thing. It's like, who do you want to spend your time with? What do you want them to say about you if you were ever to pass on? You start thinking about the impacts that you can have, but you treasure the really meaningful relationships because I think of the time that you've got. Mm-hmm. It's really important to you to have much more meaningful. It's not about the numbers. My wife would tell you this story that 20 or 30 years ago, my goal was to meet everybody on earth. And I kind of tongue in cheek, but I wanted to meet everybody. But I thought everybody had a story and how fascinating that was. Well, now that I'm in this place where I'm pulling out, something that keeps coming up is the work relationships that we've had that have been very meaningful for work. All of a sudden, they're not necessarily there anymore.
They've evaporated.
They've pretty much. If you end up with 2, 3, or 4 people you still connect them because you were so close to them, then that's probably going to happen. But all of a sudden, it's family, it's my groups, my small groups. These are the people that I want to really spend and invest in relationships.
So I have a follow-up question. Mm-hmm. This awareness or this deepness that you referenced, I find myself in deeper conversations with deeper meaning. Is that intentional? Do you knock on your sister's door and walk into her house? I'm looking for a deep and meaningful connection, or is that just organically happening?
For me, it's organically happening, and I'm saying that because I would always have a conversation with my sister, but because of where we are in life and the fact that she had already retired and I'm now in that retirement, it was so natural just to start talking about, so how do you spend a day? Give me a day in the life. Favorite question. Give me a day in your life.
Yeah.
I want to know what you do.
Guys, this might be a good time to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Hey there, if you're enjoying this episode, we've got a small favor to ask. Actually, it's a huge favor. Take a moment to like and share this podcast with your friends and family. Then follow the Redirect Podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's quick, it's free, and it helps us keep bringing you great content every week. And if you really want to make a difference, drop us a 5-star review. Those reviews help us spread the word and keep this community growing. So hit that follow button, share with a friend, and let us know what you think. We appreciate you more than you know. Now let's get back at it.
So, Curt, the same question. You go into family get-togethers looking for deep connection, or is that just happening organically?
No, it's happening organically, because if I was looking for it, then I have an agenda.
Yeah.
And that has been too much of my past life because I'm there. So I had to make sure I checked the boxes with all the conversations that I was having with people to make sure I spent time. But now it's intentional, purposeful, meaningful, dedicated, and focused conversation.
I love that. So, last question for our freeform conversation.
Well, wait a minute. Let me interrupt you. I mean, you've been sitting around us old guys who you mention every time we get together that we're old.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? Since you've been involved with us in having these conversations about Redirect, are you seeing things different even in a work world? Are you taking time out of work in order to be present and to be engaged with people because of some of the things you've heard in our previous conversations?
I think the answer to the question is yes. I do find myself trying to be more connected. And some of it has to do with the work that we've been doing together. Some of it has to do with this personal journey I'm on to detach myself more and more from the electronics, that shackle that is your cell phone, and the television, and your tablet, and your all of that stuff. And so I want to get distance from those things because they're a weight I'm just dragging around and I don't even know it. Yeah. And as a result, it's caused me to see other folks around me that they don't even know, their heads are just down and their thumbs are twitching, and they're just going through life like that. So it's caused me to see relationships as more precious as a result of my efforts to detach electronically. Mm-hmm. Separately, you said something just a few moments ago, Curt, that is important to me, and I want to take some time to absorb it. That now that you're free from the distractions of work, Friday night, on Saturday morning, I was always thinking about what I was going to do on Monday and Tuesday, and those things take you away from where you are. I probably knew that. I probably thought about those things, but I think I'm living in that because I'm still in the workforce. I will be for quite some time. I still do have responsibilities and burdens and ambitions in my career. So I think I am living in the space that you described, and it's good for me to hear it from that perspective. It helps me.
You know what's really cool? I mean, you made a comment about moments, and we talked about holidays because it's the holiday season, topical, right? And since we've been doing this, we've started a Redirect You small group. We've got 6 guys, and they're all in the point of setting a date or close to setting a date. And we're talking about things that we're talking about here on the podcast. And I've got some reference materials. The podcast is going to be one of the references as well. And we met with them last night, had a couple of beers, and kicked off this session. And it was my observation, seeing their eyes, they were just focused on the topics that we were talking about. Dale, you were there. I mean, what was the observation that you had when you saw the guys when we started talking about an awareness of what they're coming into?
Well, the pure fact that we were having the conversation, Curt. I mean, excuse me, you could see in their eyes. They were very, very interested. They haven't had a lot of conversations about this. Yeah. You know, when we were hitting on all those topics that are conversations you and I and Adam have had.
Yeah.
We're now just starting to share that conversation with 4 or 5 new people as part of that group, but they saw the value. You could see they saw the opportunity to have the conversation that maybe I can start planning and thinking about this and what should I think about and when. But having a couple of them actually had picked a date.
Yeah.
And they were already tracking to that date. I think they know it's now.
Yeah.
They know that it's now, and they're anxious, excited about wanting to have the next conversation.
Yeah, I dropped the big bomb question at the end of the night, and I said, so out of all you guys here, who has a plan? And nobody did.
A plan that goes beyond financial, a plan that goes beyond
exactly. A
health
plan
care.
for you, your personal plan on you, the person. All right, what's that plan for you? I'm looking forward to seeing where this group goes. I think the reactions that we had from them afterwards were very, very favorable. And I had a guy come up to me this morning and say, hey, I'm looking forward to really listening to all your podcasts. And I have a friend who just left his job last week. It was his last day, and he's lost. And I'm going to sit with him, and I'm like, hey, we're more than welcome to help. And we'll make sure that we'll send them the links to our podcast, and maybe that'll help. But we're hearing it more and more because we've thrown this cinder block into the pond, and now all of a sudden people are coming to us and saying, hey, I got a question, or hey, can you help my friend? And then meeting all the people when we do interviews and have guests is just another moment in time that's an awareness for not only us, but it's also helpful for people to hear.
Yeah, so bringing it back to the topic of those moments, what advice do you give to those folks who have life going on around them and they may not see the importance of each moment?
It's a mindset to sit in your house and turn on television in order to occupy yourself.
Escape.
It's escape, and it's okay, because that's also a part of chilling out, right? I've been doing that too. I have a couple of great series that I get into, but there's other things to do, and it's about looking up. Don't put your head down and just be focused on where you are at this moment. Put your head up and be receptive to what's happening around you and saying, boy, if I was to get involved with that, what would happen? You don't know unless you do it.
In thinking about that question, Adam, I sincerely think that there's a bit of a responsibility for all the gifts that you've been given. I'm the guy in the group that fears boredom more than anything else, but it's because I also don't want to waste the gifts that God gave us, and those gifts and talents that you've developed over all those years can be so meaningful. So for somebody who's going to sit back and let it all happen, I can't associate with that because I fear ever sitting on the couch for more than 30 minutes anyways. But I feel like I'd be cheating God because he's just given us these talents to use and these opportunities to just serve. I mean, just to bring it back to the moment, I had this moment where all of a sudden I remembered, you know what, I really think I was cut out to serve from the get-go since the time I was an altar boy in the Catholic Church. I was serving, but have always got great value out of serving and great vibes from doing that. And I want to be able to do that a lot more.
Yeah. I made a comment to my wife about this yesterday. The old Curt, as I refer to it, is the guy that says, hey, I don't have time to do this because
I didn't.
Everything was compressed and my mind was elsewhere. I don't have time to do this. And then she'll ask me, well, why did you go do this? Well, because I can. And that's the biggest difference. I now can, as opposed to being restricted, limited in all the things that were being placed on me. I am the one to be able to manage the time that I have. And I want to make sure that I want to be purposeful in it. I want to live life on purpose. Wow. There's so much that can be done, even if it's just picking up a phone and calling somebody that you used to work with or a distant relative just to say, hi, I was thinking about you today. I have a very dear friend of mine. He was in my wedding, helped me get started in the work world. Good friend. And I decided to go up to a retail outlet just to see how Black Friday sales were going. And it happened to be 30 minutes away from where my friend lived. So I decided to make the drive and picked up a 6-pack of beer. This was around, obviously, Black Friday, holidays. Knocked on the door. He told me to go away. I showed up in the house and we started chatting. Dear friend of mine, and we had a great conversation. I thanked him for his friendship. I appreciated everything that he had meant to me. His wife was standing there, and I even said, you know, Rob, when I went on to my master's degree, you co-signed the loan for me. And she goes, you did? And he goes, well, yeah, I knew he was good for it. But I just had the opportunity to say thank you and how much I appreciate you. So this is around Black Friday, around Christmas. And then on January 6th, he passes away. There's a little heart tug that hits me that says, go do this. Don't know why. Had a great conversation, shared a beer with a very dear friend of mine, was extremely saddened to hear the news that he had passed, but also so thankful that moment occurred where we could just be thankful.
So the advice you would give, just go do it. Go be with people. Go make connections. Get out there, get living. You have life going on around you. You have important people in your life. Take advantage of your time with them.
If there's something tugging at your heart, you got to listen to it.
Yeah.
You got to listen to it.
So this conversation was quick. It was somewhat of a simple topic, but man, did you guys take it and run with it.
Yeah, sort of enjoyed this. Yeah. I hope we can do this again. Maybe I get to ask the question next time.
I'm voting against that.
I don't think so. I kind of like the way Adam asks those questions because we do have a lot more years than he does.
That's right.
He keeps telling us.
Tapping into the well of wisdom. And all right. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. We want to thank Gianna DeMona and the University of Cincinnati 1819 Innovation Hub for allowing us to use the eSports recording studio to record our podcasts. The Redirect Podcast music is from the Sound Gallery by Dimitri Terrace. Want more information on how to redirect your purpose in retirement? Check out the Redirect website at redirect-u.com. Do you have something you want to share? Do you have a question about your redirect strategy? Please email us at info@redirect-u.com. We want to hear from you. Check out the latest Redirect podcast episode, as well as see all of the Redirect episodes on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Until next time, remember, there is purpose in your life, so find it and go do something about it.